at the last part of the lecture, I would like to talk on product sound design applications. There are different kinds of applications of the product sound design. Of course, most of them will be applied in vehicle industry. Vehicle acoustics is very important sound design aspect. At the same time, of course, household products, in household products, sound is very important. For example, for washing machines, but also for vacuum cleaners. At the same time, for different products other than technical products, for example, bottles, beer bottles, or also nutrition products, foods. The sound of foods are quite important. They should be crispy, they should sound fresh, they should give good feedback to the users or person who eat. At the same time, of course, sound logos and jingles are quite important issues. At the same time, medical products, for example, for hand prostheses or other medical products are quite important. Also for warning signals, we try to apply product sound design, and also, of course, for car audio systems, car entertainment systems. I would like to start these applications with car door sounds. I have selected as an example. As I discussed that, we have different possibilities to give information, and for car door sounds, two information are important. One of them is high quality, and the other one is the security. We would like to be sure that the door of our car is correctly closed. And in that case, sound is very important because it delivers us these two information. Of course, I discussed already about evolutionary sounds, but also there are different sounds in our daily life which we learned. For example, if two metal objects hit each other, at that time we hear very sharp sound at high frequencies. Therefore, if we think about car door sound, in that case, of course, we expect not very sharp sound because we expect some damping materials, high quality damping materials will be used in our car doors. And in that case, of course, our expectations, it should be much more bass. And also it is important, of course, for the security and also in somehow loudness. And I would like to play, for example, 3 of these sounds to show them and give feeling that. And first of all, I would like to start with car E. In that case, car A has a very sharp sound. And now I will play the sound of car B. As you can notice that it sounds very different. Particularly higher frequencies are not existing at car B. Therefore, the quality is higher and also it sounds much more secure. And now I would like to play the sound of car C. In this case, we hear that very bass sound, but at the same time, we hear that it has very long decay time, and it gives a feeling that you have a big car, big room, and it gives also, of course, much more good information about high quality if we compare again with car A. Now I would like to talk about another example. In this case, I have selected a funny example, potato chip sounds. Of course, if we eat such kind of products, chip, we expect that it sounds crispy because crispy is much more connected with freshness. It means that crispy sounds are simulate or give us feedback about freshness. In our early childhood, we experienced it on it, and therefore we learned it. And therefore we made some investigations on crispness impression of chip sounds, and therefore we investigated different sounds. In that example, I have selected 2 sounds. One of them is extremely crispy, the other one is not so crispy. We can see in this slide, and in this slide we see the loudness bark analysis of these chip sounds. And you can notice that the crispy sound is louder, but at the same time had very high frequency components. It means that loudness and frequency content is very important for the crispness impression of such kind of foods. Of course, there are also other attributes which can influence to such kind of impressions. At the end of my lecture, I would like to show very rapidly again our process. If we make product sound design, as I already said that we have 5 steps. Of course, because of the limited time, we could only discuss about step 1 and step 3. Other steps are also very important, and I hope that in other lectures we will discuss on it. I would like to show my references for these lectures, and at the end, thank you very much for your attention.